So your proof of concept is sort of almost over. And now you have to think about real pricing, commercial pricing, scaling pricing. And if that feels awkward, political, and much harder, this is why. Until now, you've been selling to champions, people in the innovation team. You will now get the sign-off for your contracts from an entirely different species. And if you don't recognize that and you don't make the correct shift in your approach, things will stall so fast. So at this stage, we feel we know the customer. POC went really well. We have got an amazing relationship. Even some of the features came from the people we are dealing with. And it's almost like a friendship. We know their first names and we might even had a beer together, right? So problem is that they do not represent the mindset of the company. They are a very specific risk-friendly subgroup of the company. And thinking that we understand the customer at this stage is very dangerous. We don't. We are going to meet a whole new set of people that are vastly different from our friends that went through the proof of concept with us. So that person is now handing you over, not to one person, but to 5 or more. Procurement, legal, security, ops, finance, and so on. So these guys, they have different incentives, different initiatives, different KPIs, and definitely different fears. They don't fear missing out on a cool product. They fear bringing risk into the company. And if you scratch on the surface, yes, they care about the company, but they more care about their own skin. They care about the mortgage they have to pay and sending their kids to school and so on. So they will not make a decision that exposes them to even the smallest amount of risk. They have a totally different definition of success. And this is where founders get blindsided. It's not about whether your product works or works well. That's a given. This is about whether they want to actually let you into the real building. This is where pricing starts to feel weird, because until now, you didn't really have a proper price on your product. POC pricing isn't scaling pricing. You priced it so the innovation team could say yes. Low budget, low risk, quick approvals. Let's just think about that for a second, right? At scale, you're not selling features. You are selling certainty, 100%. You're selling that further down the lane, choosing you won't get somebody fired. 6 months later, it comes out that there was a risk and you didn't have your act together, and the person who said yes, who was in charge of checking that box, is in hot water. And that happened before in that company, and they all have scars from that. So they will be extra super special careful with saying yes. It takes a hell of a lot longer now than it did with POC. So when you first did your proof of concept, you might have sold it for a few weeks and then within a month or two you got your decision. Enterprise sales cycles can take a hell of a lot longer, maybe 12 months. I've seen 18 months. But once you're in, you're in. See, until now, we feel that we can charge more because our product is cooler and better than the competition. But now, you can charge more because the consequences get real at scale and an enterprise level. During POC, you optimize for speed and learning. Now, you optimize for reliability, above all. Quick note on grandfathering prices. I think grandfathering prices for a certain user group for a while is totally okay, as long as the use case and the scope hasn't really changed. As soon as your product becomes more critical in that organization and the risk increases, you also need to increase the pricing because you have to mitigate the risk, and that costs money. So this feels really uncomfortable because in this phase, we just feel we have reached our goals. We feel we have finally understood the problem. We have finally understood the customer. We finally have product market fit. We just raised money. We are hiring people. And it is so easy to fall into the trap of just keep doing what worked so well until now, right? And unfortunately, if you keep doing what worked well until now, you will screw up your company over the next 12 months. 80% of founders fail at this stage. This is such a fragile stage. But this is also where the upside just explodes. This is where the ARR compounds into a hockey stick. This is where the beginning of your super high valuation exit is born. Not because your product got cooler, quite the opposite, because your product got more boring, more reliable. Your product is almost like an insurance fee against risk. That's where the money sits. Unfortunately, this is also where a lot of founders check out, because we founders, we like shiny things. We like solving problems. We are founders because we want to escape the very type of company that we are becoming. So there's a whole nother emotional layer to this phase that's not easy. That's, from my perspective, probably the hardest. This is where you should stop thinking like a builder who proves something cool. This is where you start thinking like a CEO with real responsibility for your clients and your staff. Scary. Now you fund reliability, you price against risk, and if I can get you a small tip, something that I found a little bit hard, is let go of the desire to be liked and focus more on being trusted, because this phase, the phase you're going into, you and your company, is all about trust. It's all about reliability, and boring is good. I said that before. If this feels heavier than expected, if you're struggling, if this is all a bit unsettling, it's probably a good sign. If you just feel super confident in your saddle doing your old stuff, the stuff that you've been doing so far, you're probably lulled in false security. So if it's hard, that's probably a good sign. But if you feel unsure, or if you have questions specifically to your industry or your stage, or if you just want a soundboard, just DM me. I'm super looking forward to hearing your story, and maybe between the two of us we can work it out. All right, that's it. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. See you next time. People we've how now brown cow.